Hello, this is Lisa Khera from In Balance Pilates, and I want to welcome you today to this feature interview. I am really thrilled to have Michelle Reinglass with me. So, welcome, Michelle.
Oh, welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me here. I've been looking forward to it.
I've been looking forward to it as well. It's my pleasure to have you on. Michelle is coming to us today from the beautiful Laguna Beach. My goodness, I wish I was there in person joining you. What a beautiful place to be. Welcome, welcome. I'm tuning in here from Ottawa, Canada. So I'm sure quite different temperatures going on right now.
Beautiful, very beautiful.
So Michelle is a reformed lawyer and now mediator. She's a speaker and author. She's the author, co-author in the book Women Who Empower, and in the upcoming book that will be coming out this spring. And she's going to tell us more about that. Michelle is also one of the authors in the Inspired Impact book series. So I had been in the book Women Who Inspire, and as I mentioned, she's in the book Women Who Empower. So we both have done some publishing with Kate Butler books and are part of that wonderful community of women. And it's such a pleasure to have you on and to hear about all the things that are coming up and going on for you. So tell us a bit about Women Who Empower and how did you get into that book? Was it something that you always wanted to do, to be a co-author in a book? Tell us a little bit more about that.
I have an odd path to that, actually, or I'll call it serendipitous path. I've always wanted to write, and I have started, I don't know how many books over the last decades of my life. And I started, some circumstances got me into the Balance book. I was invited to speak somewhere on the topic. I'm like, what? I'm like really not balanced. But anyway, so I was working on that. Meanwhile, I was signed up just before COVID in a Jack Canfield program, as well as in a couple others with Steve Harrison. And then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, Jack Canfield pivoted and started this new program called, I think it was called Canfield Coaching Club Reignite. So it's kind of reignite your life in 4 months of it. And so he just said we had an opportunity to just join it and still have a ticket for the event when that was going to be redone. And so I joined that program, and 500 and some odd people. I couldn't believe how intimately we became friends with so many people. And it's hard to even believe, sometimes you can have like 25 people and have a hard time having a real connection with more than like 2 or 3. But here we were. And they basically, he and Patty Aubrey, it was their program. They had a new challenge every single day. And each challenge took you a little bit more outside your comfort zone. One of those I talk about, even Jack Canfield said it was difficult, was we had to do a TikTok dance, video ourselves doing it, and then post it.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my God. So I put it, you had 40
wonderful. We had the pleasure of having him come to Ottawa for an event, and it was just wonderful. It was just amazing. So I love it that you're.
He is my idol. He really is.
World.
So he had us. So it was funny. So the one I did was Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, and in the middle of it, I'm going, I can't believe I'm doing this. So it just really took out, and I put it off to the last minute. So things like that, and there were some that were more serious. Write a letter to yourself, forgive somebody, different things like that. So, but anyway, we became friends with a lot of people. So I met, or I saw, somewhat met, we call it virtual, but Denise McCormick, her name, all of us who have been brought into Kate Butler's programs by Denise, we talk about her, we bow to her, she's been amazing. So I saw that Denise was a bestseller author. And so I asked her about that. And she said that it was through this group book with Kate Butler. And after a little bit, finally she said, do you want me to introduce you? And I said, sure. So now here comes my conundrum. So I am working full-time as a mediator, and I'm working really full-time. I'm writing my book on balance, and every spare moment I can. And and I'll do a lot of other things, charitable stuff. And then I got invited to go ahead and join this group for Women Who Empower. And it was when I learned the name Women Who Empower that I just thought, so I kept thinking, I don't have time. I don't have time. How am I going to do this? But then I just went, wait a minute. My other passion besides balance is women empowerment. And I put on women empowerment events, and how can I merge those two? And it was like it landed in my lap. So I just said, those are the signs that I had to follow. And I said, yes. So
No coincidences. And I agree, however we have been introduced to Kate and her world and the community, I always like to ask people just how that all worked out and who introduced you, because it's for everyone that I know that's been involved in it, it's opened up so many new doors and so many new beautiful possibilities and communities and friendships and collaborations. And it truly is just such a wonderful project. If anyone is thinking about it, considering it, go all in, because you won't regret it. It's just wonderful. And then we get to collaborate and meet each other, and spend time with each other. And so you were still working on your other book, right? That's going to be coming out, that's upcoming. And then going through the experience of co-authoring and just that mastermind. And I mean, especially for this year, I mean, I find personal development is a non-negotiable, something that we want to get into those daily habits and patterns every day, make it a non-negotiable. But especially last year, just having those extra masterminds and courses and programs, as we said before, it's just so sanity saving, to be able to take that time to focus on our goals, to be around like-minded people that are into doing personal development and into looking at the solution instead of staying focused on what we've lost or what we're not able to do at the present time. That I'm sure was just a priceless opportunity to be given.
Oh, God, so much. It's funny. I'd read the Jack Canfield, who, if anybody doesn't know him, he's, besides the author of the Success Principles, he is co-author of the whole Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And before that, he was, actually, I take it back, he was already doing that. And then he was one of the people featured in The Secret. So I seen him. My first introduction to him, though, was in The Secret. And I thought, I'd read his books, I don't know how many times, his success principles, and thought I knew them. When we dug deep into them, it brought it to a whole new level. So, we use the phrase 10X. I think we were 10Xing much of the time. And so it was just basically opening up new horizons. And each level, what I found for myself is each level that you either surmounted, achieved, or surmounted, it really gave you a lot more confidence in yourself and just the things that you're learning. And of course, just how you feel. So, and again, being around this community, and it was a very safe community. Shocking. That's another thing I wouldn't think about, that 500 people would be a safe community to be vulnerable in, but we got raw and vulnerable. And so that was also a surprise effect of being in that course.
I've just been in one that's been a 1 year long. It's with one of my mentors, Danelle Delgado, and once a week since last June. And as I was saying to you before, like, what a sanity saver, just having that focus and, keeping your mind focused on just personal development and positive things. And what can we goals, right? It's so important to be focused on gratitude and goals. Actually, when I've got a freebie that I always send out to my clients on gratitude, goals, Pilates, and posture, because taking the time to focus on what we're thankful for, and we've talked about that before with just the certain patterns and habits that we have going on, and to be able to really recognize where you're going, and are you able to take that time in gratitude. So tell me a bit more about balance, or the imbalance of just that work life, because I know you were saying, working in law, you must have had incredibly busy long days,
That
I'm
would
assuming.
be just an understatement indeed. It was it was definitely, I loved my law career. I really did. And I wasn't burnt out when I left it, but I did it for 30 years. If anybody's doing math, I started at age 5, just otherwise don't do math. So, but it's tedious, and it is a lot of work, and it's very detailed. And it's a 24/7 business. And the reason I say that is because there's always something more you should be doing. So I was a trial lawyer in my career. And so we were either always in trial or getting ready for trial, or, posing motions and things like that. So, filing motions. So anyway, it was sort of a never ending business. And as a result, it was hard to find extra time. And I was constantly feeling like I was on this hamster wheel, just running and running and running. And so I started looking into balance, and I found my very first guru in that regard was Louise Hay, another idol. And I read her book, and I tried to follow everything. And then I've met, I think her name is Shakti Ganal, and she wrote a book called Creative Visualization. So I'm learning visualization. And then I learned meditation. I still never got really good for a long time in meditation. It didn't stick with me, but
But you were attempting to do it, so that's
now. Of course, it's got to be it's an integral part of my life. But
now it's part of your daily routine.
Oh yes, and occasionally I'll realize a day went by just from working straight through, and you go, I didn't do my meditation, but it is very important. So I was doing all these things. I'm doing everything that I'm learning. I'm practicing it. They talked about in a different way that we talk about it now. Now it's a little more elaborate, but self-care, taking care of ourselves has the absolute importance of, if anything, we need to put ourselves first in many occasions, because if we don't take care of us, there's no us to take care of all the people that we want to take care of. And so I said, okay, I'm going to practice this too. I'm going to go to a spa. I haven't been to a spa for a long time. So I started getting, manicures and facials and things like that. And I still was stressed, and I still was, heart racing all the time. My life was racing. It was just a race. My family was always upset with me, saying, what, you come and you don't stay long and then you leave. I said, I'm in trial. Excuse me.
And how many children?
I'm one of 3 girls in my family. And so I have 2 sisters, and then my parents. My mother is still around, and both my sisters. And of course cousins and everything else. But actually I've heard that it was a real challenge having 3 girls. And
how many kids do you have?
I don't have kids. I just have cats.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw something. Okay.
No. So, I'm I guess an adopted mother of 2 cats, and I've had a sequence of cats.
They must love you being home. I find pets must just be loving this right now, having all this attention of if you're, depending on where you're living and what's going on with where you're living, if you're still working from home, they're getting all the extra love and attention, right?
I'm rather spoiled about that. They've gone from just understanding when I leave for the day and I'll be home at some time tonight. And now they're like freaking out. If I go to the supermarket, they're waiting at the door. And if I sometimes, sometimes you'll sit in your car, it's because either a song's on and you're finishing that, or I'm finished looking at a text. So I just want to get that done before I forget once I get in the house. I'll start hearing meowing outside the door. So really? Like, get in the house.
Come and play with me and feed me. Animals are so needed, that unconditional love. It's so nice to have them in our life. And then yes. So the most of your work right now. Oh, I had one other question. So you as well, we share one thing in common, which is, well, aside from the book, is Pilates. Right. I loved hearing. Now, are things open right now? Are you able to go to classes? Are you doing them at home?
I am, in fact, I go to a person, she's a trainer, Pilates instructor trainer, and we used to go to her studio, and then it just became unwieldy to work in that studio. So she has a garage, and that's where she, has set up reformers and everything. So that's what we did. My friends and I, we go to her home. When we had to shelter at home, I actually went there a couple times, and I just decided, I know no matter how clean everything is. I think I just need to stay home. So she pivoted as well. And we do them on Zoom. So, and I know some people are already starting to come back live. I haven't reached that point yet. Likewise with my work, we do mediations by Zoom, and I just recently had to do one in person, but the
fully yet.
are not yet open fully.
Okay.
So that'll be sometime this summer, June, July.
Right.
We'll
Okay.
decide what we're doing. So slowly stepping out. Occasionally I'll actually go in an evening walk and not wear my mask.
Wow. Well, so many people had to learn how to do the online thing, whether it was fitness classes, yoga studios, Pilates, any type of business, right? So many, my husband's work with government, right? So many people had to learn how to show up on camera and do all the things all the time on the computer, which can be at the same time fatiguing. Both you and I have gone through a concussion. We've had that experience, so we're fully aware of the energy needed and just the fatigue that you get from spending several hours on the computer when your body's not used to it. So definitely lots of ways to pay attention and be aware, and to be listening to your body when there's times that you need to slow down or ramp up depending on what's going on. Would you say now, do you feel like you're more in tune with when you are working too much, or a bit out of balance with that self-care? Would you say it's something you're still working towards, or you have
I'm for the most part there. The only thing that's taking me out of balance is writing about balance. It's taking all the time that I'm doing
those projects complete? Yeah.
So when those are done, if they're ever done, I'm enjoying every single thing I do. But my journey was, like I said, I kept thinking I'm out of balance and I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. And the more I tried, the more frustrated I got, or I'd finally think I had it and then something would happen. I'm like, how did I explode over that? So it's interesting. As you're talking about the concussion, I look at this in retrospect and I could see all the messages that were being conveyed to me by the universe to slow down, to shed things. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be the superwoman of the world. Just because someone asks you, you don't have to say yes. I'm a big proponent now of the word no. And it's, by the way, people take that as, well, how do you ever have joy or fun if you're turning everything down? It's not that you're turning everything down. I think it's really critically important. I guess I'm going to go a little bit off topic to get back on topic, which is that in order to know what you want, you have to be focused on what your goals and purpose are. And I know, for example, even in the Jack Canfield program, we had a whole session on that, trying to figure out what our purpose was. And, I did. Actually, it wasn't a surprise when I figured out what my purpose was. And then the real question is, are you acting in alignment? And we always know, or I shouldn't say we know, we can learn when we are out of alignment. And it's those times when we're out of alignment, which is also when we're out of balance, that we are the least happy. We're the least comfortable. We are the least confident. We're the least secure. We give in to fear instead of being really willing to take a chance. We get subject to self-talk, all those things, self-negative talk, I should say. So all those things are going on. And then, when you're in, there's a phrase, in flow, where things are just swimming along and everything feels good and you're doing what you want to do and you're happy. And that's acting in alignment with what your goals and purpose are. So back to the no and the yes. No, you have to work at least, if you don't already know what your purpose is, some idea of what are you here for? What is it that you were planted on this planet for? What are you meant to be? What are you meant to do? What are you meant to give? What is it that makes your heart sing, so to speak? And I know a lot of people say, oh, follow your passion. And I think that confuses and confounds a lot of people because they're not sure, follow what passion, which passion. So I think it's more for trying to find what you are here for. What's your why? Why are you here? And I think when that can be answered, then it's a little easier to be able to ferret through all the requests or the asks of you, all the things that are thrown at you to do, all the things that people are asking you to do or telling you to do, all the things that are mounting, and you feel this pressure to do. Why are you feeling pressure? Is that something you don't want to do? And so that can help you look at your life and say, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is in alignment with my goals. I'm going to do it. Just a little caveat. This doesn't mean that if somebody's in need that is close to you, that wants you to do something and you don't want to do it, but it's something you feel needed to, that's also then part of your purpose, which is helping people. And so it's not like you turn it down, but think about it. Is this a person who always puts everything off to the last minute, doesn't have things done, all of a sudden tries to do the data dump on you and have you get them out of the fix? You know, we've all met some of those. I'll call them, some of them are takers, or they're not present in their life. They don't even have a clue what they're doing. And then everything's an emergency. And so when you start realizing you're bailing someone out all the time, you know, take stock of that. So that's a different one than just actually helping someone who really needs it. And whether or not they give gratitude, we'll get into gratitude. I know we're talking about that, one of my favorite topics as well. But whether or not they do, the person who you really want to help, whether they give gratitude or not, it doesn't matter, because we're not doing it for something in return. We're doing it because it's what our heart feels like we need to do. So, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, I felt totally out of balance for so long. And the real thing was I was missing all the signs that were telling me, you need to slow down, you need to stop. And that's why when I don't know if I've told you that, I don't think I've told you this part. It was 2016 or 2017. I'm in the International Academy of Mediators. Every time I speak, I'm mentioning them. They're probably going, why is our name being mentioned? Because I got asked to come to, it was a conference we were having in Austin, Texas. Asked if I would come to the, or they didn't ask me to come to the conference. They said, ask me to speak at the conference. And I said, oh, thank you so much. I'm honored. But I decided I was conferenced out. So I thought for the first time in 10 years, I was saying no to all my conferences. That was my balance that I was doing. So I said, thank you so much, but I'm not going. Click. So that was the end of an email. I got another email. So I kept getting these emails back and forth. And finally I said, what's the topic? And, you know, I really did sigh just like that. And they said, balance. And I go, you want me to speak on balance? Have you met me? You know, what are you thinking of? You know, this is just, so I went, you know, and then they said, we disagree and we think you're perfect for it. And it was going to be a breakout session. I then soon learned that we do it twice. You do it in the morning, you do it in the afternoon. So I decided to think about it. And then I finally said yes, but in an abbreviated fashion. So that was how I gained some balance, by doing this program on balance. So we had these breakout sessions. We had this huge crowd there's breakouts. There's like 8 to 10 breakout sessions. And we had this huge crowd. I'm thinking, wow, this is really amazing. I didn't expect we have this many people that were interested in this topic. We met some amazing women too from India who taught us the clap, laugh. And if any of them ever see this, I'm sorry if it's laugh, clap, or clap, laugh. But anyway, it's one of those two. And it was an amazing de-stressor. So we were sharing different ways to de-stress. And so then people started, as I was leaving to go catch my taxi to get to the airport, people were saying, you need to write a book. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm this out of balance person who managed to do this program. Oh, by the way, our second, the afternoon session, we had an I'd say almost equally large sized crowd that were there. So again, we were surprised. I went, maybe there's something to this. I'm not the only one that's suffering. So once I got home, I was asked to, when our local bar association said, hey, I heard you did this talk in out of state. Would you do it for us? I'm like, how'd you hear about this? So I said, sure. And then I did one for the federal courts. And so it kind of has taken off from there. So, and also the universe has been responding to where my thoughts have been focused, because all of a sudden everywhere I looked, it was balance, 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 balance. So I went, and I was.
And you know, my business is called In Balance Pilates.
I love that.
The word
Loved it.
balance. Yes, yes, yes. And that's so wonderful, seeing those signs and knowing that you're on the right track and just getting those decisions, finding those newfound boundaries. And then for you being, taking something that you're teaching around the topic of balance, turning that into a program, using that for your material in your book, because it is around that. Is it around the addiction to not being in balance and working too much and that kind of thing?
I called it, right, this is my working title so far. I've had several, and my Facebook group has been really kind. We did a title test, for a bunch of things, and everybody was helping to put things together. And then I had an author retreat with Jack Canfield and Steve Harrison and Patty Aubrey and some others. And so Jack didn't like any of my other titles, but he liked that piece of it that said breaking free from the addiction to busy. So I've just kept it and still working with that one. And the reason for that was I call it this addiction, sort of a euphemism, but when we can't stop saying yes, when we can't stop doing everything, when we can't stop being the Superman or Superwoman for everybody, and we feel compulsions to do these things, and it becomes natural. Talk about habits. You mentioned habits before. It becomes a habit to just, Michelle, can you do this? Lisa, do you think you can help over here? And it's like, yes, it comes out of your mouth. First thing. It's a first impulse. And so that's what I was learning. And so that's why I said it's basically breaking free from this addiction to busy, because that's what it is. It's keeping us busy. And then we sit back, well, at least speak for myself, I sit back and I go, how did I get this busy? What's going on? What's wrong with this world that's making me do all these things? Aha, no one's making me do anything. So those were, revelations. So when I say this, the whispers and signs, mine were more than whispers though. I've been a runner, and so I would take a fall on a run, and one time landed on my face, and all these different things, just packing everything in, broken wrist, which that was probably the one fall that wasn't my fault. Somebody else caused it.
Those patterns of stop, listen, wait a second. Yeah.
And what I
stop you in your tracks to say, and that's what we had said before, with that saying with Oprah, the universe can whisper, and if you're not listening, if you're not getting into that alignment to listen to where you need to stay on track. And even just as you were speaking, sometimes it's just looking at as well, when you're saying certain people can ask certain things of our time or to do certain things. And sometimes even just looking at, when in our life, when we're winning in our life, when things maybe aren't going so well, and some of those injuries are happening or muck is happening and things are happening. It's like, who was I around? Who was I surrounding myself with? Who were my people? What were my thoughts? What were the behaviors, and then that usually you can connect the dots to, oh, well, no wonder this, that, or the other happened, because was I really taking care of myself in the best way? Was I really showing the universe that, those thoughts of whether it's worthiness or confidence or just that purpose of waking up and knowing that we are here to serve others. We do have a purpose to serve others. We are meant to show up and be visible. And for you, doing that speech at that one place, having the other foundations and everyone picking up and hearing about it, because there you are getting visible and knowing that you are meant to teach people about balance and to help people that have been in your shoes, that have been in that addiction to being so busy and focused on serving others all the time and not always, taking a look at how can we get a little bit more balance. And obviously not everything is going to be in balance all the time, but there's certainly no harm in striving for whatever that balance is for ourselves and families.
When you reference your Pilates perfectly imbalanced Pilates, I want to mention this. There are some, I don't know what words to use, people who sort of frown on the terminology of balance, saying that would require you to be in this perfect equilibrium, and it's everything's going to become a net zero. And I don't see it that way. But I mean, I respect anybody's position on that. So I sort of redubbed balance as imperfect balance, because it's not getting to some perfect level of balance. It's getting to that level that is perfect for you. And your perfect imbalance can be I'm going to be chasing the kids over here, and I'm going to make sure I have play dates with them, and I'm going to make sure I do this. At the same time, I'm also going to give myself the time to go work on my project, and I'm going to my coaching career or whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm still going to take on this book with Kate Butler, or something, because that's what's singing to me. So as long as you're aware of what you're doing and you know that you can manage that time without it making you sick,
Yep.
that can be your imperfect balance. But we're not conscious, we're not aware so much of what we're doing. And one of the very first principle in Jack Canfield's Success Principle books is take 100% responsibility for your life. And he emphasizes it's your whole life. There is no component of it that you can get away with not taking responsibility for. And one of the elements of that is his formula, E plus R equals O. The event plus your reaction equals the outcome. And so every single day of your life, you can look back at, like, let's take today and look back yesterday. And is there anything today that's going on that didn't go the way you planned it or the way you thought? So what happened yesterday? You thought you were going to get these 5 projects done today, and you don't know where your time went. Well, let's play back the tape. So yesterday you took on one more thing. You promised that you would do some, you're going to go around the neighborhood, and, you're going to try to help with some, selling Girl Scout cookies, or, whatever it is, you added something to your plate, and you didn't look at, I shouldn't say this like it's a you. I mean, it's that we look inward to ourselves, because this is really all where it comes from. It's all inside of us. And so versus, you know what, I can't do it tomorrow because I made a commitment to myself that I was going to get this much work done, or I was going to finish this project and I'm going to turn it into, my publisher, or I'm going to turn it into whoever's waiting for it. And I made a commitment, and a commitment to myself. And I think we give away we give away our commitments to ourselves way too easy. And I'm so guilty of that. Okay. I'm Michelle Reinglass. I'm guilty.
Yes, those boundaries are so important. Boundaries
Exactly.
and time, just having a really good handle on our time and schedule, exactly as you said. And what you're mentioning before too about goals, I always love the classic book Think and Grow Rich. And yes, writing down those goals, there's so much to be said for pen to paper, whether it's writing down your gratitudes, writing down your goals, really keeping that top of mind, so when someone is asking you for your time, it helps you better make that decision. Is this in alignment with where my goals are? Yes or no, right? How can we make those decisions? And as business owners, we're making decisions all the time with things within our business, but having that focus and being so clear on our goals and what we're working towards, is and that's where too accountability comes into it, having a really strong team of accountability, as we both said, being in masterminds where you're around like-minded people that are have their goals on deck as well, and won't hesitate to help you stay on track. It's so needed. It's so needed. And then just, yes, everything with emotional intelligence and being really mindful of our response. It's so needed. And now we've all had so much extra time not all had extra time, but just that difference in time to, in the last year, maybe taking the time to look at those times that you have been diving into that extra addiction to busy. What is it that you're trying to turn off or not think about, or what are you avoiding diving into this other project so much, right? So much to dive into with
No, absolutely.
personal.
Napoleon Hill is amazing. I love that book. I actually watched a video of him, an actual video from like 1930s or something, where he's talking about what turned into his book. I don't remember which came first, chicken and egg on that one. Anyway, it was just interesting seeing him. It was a scratchy recording of it, but it's
But it's there, yeah.
Um,
Well, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on this feature interview today. And I am definitely going to link up in the description in the comments your website where everyone can find you. So, your website and your social media channels. Where's the best place to find you on social media?
that would be my website. Thank you for asking. And it's www.reinglassadr.com. That's reinglassadr.com. We're setting up another website we'll have something for the books that'll just be my regular name, Michelle Reinglass. But until we get that set up, it's www.reinglassadr.com. So
Okay, wonderful. And then you're on and then on Clubhouse at Michelle Reinglass.
I think it's Michelle Ryan. I think
Okay.
I would be
I'll
findable.
find you on there because yeah, there's lots of great things going on there just with collaborations and all
Definitely.
things. So yeah, it's so wonderful that we can connect virtually and get in touch this way. But it's been such a pleasure to have you on. Do you have any more tips that you wanted to share with the audience?
I just would add, I have these, I call them the M's, but just things that people can do, like starting today if they wanted to start getting to balance. And I think the very first thing I would mention is motivation. I won't go too deep into that, but just because of our time. But I think people, motivation, everyone says, yeah, I'm motivated, but are you really motivated? How motivated are you? Because if it's just a passing fancy, so to speak, someone's not going to carry things out. There's a video that went viral, and it says, how much do you really want it? And it even goes into, would you give up eating? Would you, give up starving yourself? Things like, how far would you go to accomplish, what it is that you want to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, motivation is the very first thing. And the second thing is that is so critical is mindset, is getting into a mindset. And there's intention is important, but you have to get into an actual mindset where you are visualizing the outcome, visualizing the steps that you're going to take to get there, and visualizing it. All you have to, right now, I would just say visualizing, what does life in balance feel like to you? For most people, it has some kind of serenity to it. It has a pace that is calm. It shows success at accomplishing your goals, things like that. So whatever that might look at, more days at the beach, more days at the playground, or more days reading novels, or more, whatever that might be looking like, but you don't have time for. By the way, I always think of this is my kind of guiding post, my North Star. There was a phrase, you can always make more time, but you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And so sometimes I actually am focusing on my days and going minutes, seconds, to remind myself, don't go down that rabbit hole with social media. Don't go, don't go, and you don't have to go on Facebook right now. You don't have to respond, because I had somebody who, pinged me for something. Don't have to respond. So just remembering, what is it that's important for right now, and are we using our time efficiently? So, and then the other one is movement, because movement and exercise is very, very critically important as well. And so every single day, I would recommend people so you get your motivation, you really work on, how badly do you want to lose that weight? How badly do you want to write that book? How badly do you want to get your blog started? How badly do you want to start your podcast? What matters? How much does this matter? And then if you commit to, yeah, this really means a lot to me, then you're going to be giving up other things. So because of that motivation. Number two is the mindset. You're getting yourself grounded. You're getting this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, and this is the first thing I'm going to do. And, and this is what I'm going to pursue. I'm going to give myself 3 hours to accomplish this, or to work on this, or 1 hour, or sometimes 15 minutes, just to do. And then movement, exercise, doing exercise, some movement every day. You don't have to go out and run a marathon. You don't have to do a triathlon. You don't have to, pump iron to the point of exhaustion. If you even do 10 minutes of movement, that is improving your body. It is improving your fitness, and it's improving your whole body. By the way, on a cellular level, and this is scientifically proven, everything starts to go circulating around. It starts realizing, oh, you are exercising us. you are getting us moving, motion. So you want to be in motion, some fashion. Some days it's just stretching. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. Just know that you've done something to move your body. And the fourth one is meditation. And I know a lot of people groan when they hear that, but I certainly would have if you go back a number of decades. So, but I have learned, and I've been inspired by so many people who have shared with me exactly how impactful it was for them. And I will say it has been impactful for me. And so when you're in your stress mode, and everybody who out there is stressed, okay? Who out there feels stressed? Who out there feels overwhelmed? Or is anybody, can anybody say they just don't ever feel overwhelmed? Hardly. So let's say that you're in the middle of that and you're working. So for me, I'm usually, well, right now I'm in a Zoom box, but you know, when in brick and mortar, I physically would literally, let's say I leave a room and everyone's yelling and screaming and they're so mad at the other side, and they're just, and by the way, yes, that does happen. It happens a lot. So I don't want to bring that energy to the room I'm about to go to. And so I will stop to get myself grounded, to clear my head. I'll pull into a room, and I actually sometimes will take my phone and I'll set a timer for 3 minutes, and I just sit there in quiet. And I deep breathing, you know, the clap laugh. Well, I'll have to teach people that later. That's another thing that can be done. It's a little louder. So, but anyway, there's just deep breathing is another really good tool that just on its own, even if you're not meditating about it, but just even deep breathing gets you. And I will tell you this, gratitude, we didn't get a chance to talk about that much. I'm going to just say this. Sorry, I'm using up your time, but I want to say this because it's so important. Going into when you are down, and I've used this myself just recently. I had a down day, a really down day, and I don't normally have those. And it was just a whole lot of things were like piling. And then what did I do? I started like bringing myself down further, and it was like a self-pity party, you know. And I sat there and I was literally going down like this. And when I say going down, I'm piling more things on me to make me feel bad. And I almost, when I said, wait a minute, wait, stop, stop the presses. I said, I can't do this. I've got to fix this. And so what I did was I started going into massive gratitude. And I just started thinking, because that's what I know pulls me up anytime. It's like literally a magical tool.
Get to that gratitude list. I hear you. It's the quickest way to
gratitude, everything. I came up with 200, 300 things. And I was actually driving to my farmer's markets. I'm in my car and I'm screaming out my gratitudes. And I'm grateful for you, car. I'm grateful how nice you drive. I'm so grateful to this person who's not right up on my bumper. I appreciate the driver next to me. I mean, I was picking anything I could. And by the time I got to my farmer's market, I was elevated so high. I was practically screaming. I jumped out. I wanted to hug everybody. Of course, it's COVID. I can't hug anybody, but it was the equivalent of it. And I just was radiating this high energy, this happy feeling that was euphoric. I went from literally about to go into the soil of the earth, so low. And that's all it took, was just thinking of all the things you're grateful for, because that gets you grounded into a whole nother level. So that's another thing to use. And I just want to make sure I got that out. So thank you.
Yes. I love that. And I love how you just turn the mood right around, because 100% it's, waking up and deciding I'm going to focus on gratitude instead of whatever else it could be going on at the time. I love that. And movement, oh my gosh, I'm a big proponent of that.
Yes.
Breathing exercises. Actually, I have a couple online things. I have one online course called Breathe into Calm. That's all breathing exercises to get grounded and to just help people go from that feeling of chaos to calm. I find that's a big one. And then Pilates. I have a lot of online Pilates downloads. So yes, getting the body moving is just so key. It's so imperative to make that a daily non-negotiable, daily habit. And I love everything that you've said about just having that attitude of gratitude and really taking the time to focus on that, focus on and grounding your own energy, especially as you mentioned, going into a hostile environment or anything where the energy, could be off, taking that time to just check in with, your own energy and what do you want to radiate so that you're not, as you said, taking that with you. I love it. I love it. Well, I can't wait until I get to hear more details about your next book launch. So you will have to keep me updated on that. We will get all of that into the notes so everyone can find you there. And as I said, your website and excuse me, and all of that. But I just wanted to thank you so much again for coming on the feature interview. It's been such a pleasure to have you. Everyone get their copy of Women Who Empower and read your chapter there. And we'll stay tuned for all of your other projects that are coming up.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This was an honor. Thank you so much. I enjoyed
Oh,
being on the show.
thank you. Thank you. So have a lovely day, everyone. And thanks again for tuning in to the feature interview. This is Lisa Khera from In Balance Pilates. And it's been such a pleasure to spend time with you today. So thank you.
Feel the same. Thank you very much.